Hello, ako po si Paterno West Makel, ang inyong religion reporter. Noong oras na ngayon sa Pilipinas, 2:14 a.m. ng March 6, Biyernes. Makakasama natin ngayon yung isa sa mga Pilipinong pare sa Middle East, partikular sa Lebanon. Isa siyang Jesuita, si Father Henry Ponce S.J. Nasa Lebanon siya ngayon at tumutulong siya dun sa mga nabibiktima ngayon ng nangyayaring bakbakan sa gitnang silangan. Father Henry, kamusta po kayo ngayon dyan?
Hello. Ah, magandang madaling araw sa inyo dyan sa Pilipinas. Medyo pagod because of our responsibility here, no? If you notice, medyo mabagal yung internet din namin dito. So,
Mm-mm.
yan, that's the situation. Mahina talaga din ang internet dito sa Lebanon. Uh, but yeah, we're trying to do our best, no, to help as much as possible, as many like displaced migrants that we can accommodate in our church, which became a shelter for displaced migrants
Mhm.
during this war, no? Which is very sad and scary.
Mm-mm. How would you describe the situation there, Father Henry?
It now it's really tense, very alarming, because before when Israel would attack a particular building, they will send a warning to the community in that area to evacuate because they're going to attack this area and just a very precise target, no, just like in the movies na parang lalamunin lang yung building, but
Mhm.
this time their warning is not only for a particular building but an entire area.
Mhm.
So ang laki ng coverage. So imagine that um, the residents who are panicking to evacuate and they're giving a specific route to follow. If you are from Hadat, you go this way. If you are from Chia, you go upward, and all those instructions. And then uh, it's it's madness. And where will the people go? Um, and for sure, uh, if sana hindi mangyari, no?
Mhm.
Kung I don't know how big the attack will be, and this is the first time that they made this announcement, so nakakatakot. Um,
What
uh,
was the latest announcement you got, Father?
uh,
3 p.m. Lebanon time, tama po ba?
yes, around that time, it's a warning that there will be an attack on this particular area, no?
Your
In
area.
Yeah, it's around like 30 minutes away from us. But yeah, within Beirut. So, nakakatakot lang. People are scampering. Like, grabe nag-traffic, no, going out. Ngayon, maluwag-luwag na eh. Wala ng tao sa masyado sa mga daan. Uh, but like you can just imagine the migrant communities na hindi sila taga dito,
Mhm.
saan sila pupunta. I'm sure marami sa kanila na iniwan na lang din ng mga amo siguro nila just like before. no? So, uh, or naiiwan.
Mhm. Kamusta po yung mga Pinoy po diyan, Father?
Yun, talagang na nakikisilong sa ibang mga kaibigan. Ganon ang mga nangyayari,
Mhm.
no? Ah, they kasi ah, for example, may mga OFWs dito na ah, ay yung asawa nila Lebanese, and
Mhm.
they live in that community sa Daye, na kung saan tina-target, no, yung ah, na inaatake palagi. So, pag mag-evacuate sila and then yung asawa nila ay ah, Shia
Mhm.
Muslim, and then if they try to like go to a shelter, pag malaman na Shia, hindi sila tatanggapin kasi risky. Baka madamay sila. Hezbollah or Shia group, yan sila na ano, kahit hindi sila Hezbollah, the fact na ah, Shia, yung, di ba, parang natatakot lang ang mga parang shelter na ah, baka madamay sila or ito may connection sa um, sa grupo, etc. So, ganun. So, mahirapan silang ma-accommodate sa mga shelters.
Mhm.
And what I'm trying to do with the help of Tres Marias, na Tres Marias is a Filipino NGO, no, which is very organized and very active here in Lebanon. And
Mhm.
during my first assignment here in 2017 to 2020, no, this group was formed because they have initiated a relief operation during the crisis.
Aha.
From the crisis in Lebanon, the revolution, the economic crisis, and then the explosion, and then pandemic happened. So these women, no, headed by Myra Aragon and May Ibrahim and Mimi Nashif, these ladies uh, came together and then initiated this relief operation to help those who are suffering from the crisis. And so I saw their initiative. I said, okay, I'm going to help you. I will look for funds, no, and then you do the work on the ground. And now they have like flourished, and they are now a very trusted organization here in Lebanon among the migrant NGOs. So I'm collaborating with them. The donations I'm receiving right now, I'm forwarding to them. I said, take care of the OFWs because in our shelter here in the church, sobrang puno na kami. Uh, ang hirap. It's so sad on my part na Pinoy, hindi ko nga sila na ma-accommodate kasi punong-puno na kami. Kaya sabi ko, hanap ng marentahan na lugar, may pera, may donation tayong natatanggap, gamitin natin to, prepare food for them. So, yun ang ginagawa ngayon. She's trying to find a place na ma-rent temporarily, and then she's cooking 300 food packs, no, distributing it to different migrants, especially OFWs. So kung saan yung mga Pinoy na nakikisilong, na bibigyan ng pagkain, and yeah, I just coordinated with her. By the way, if you want to interview Myra, I can give you her contact also. You can interview her, and then she's very used to receiving interviews. A while ago, she just received the head of IOM, Miss Kaya Blattman, because they're trying to document what she's doing. So nakaka-proud bilang Pilipino na meron tayong kapwa Pilipino na ang laki-laki ng puso. No? So, yan. Ang marami sa mga tao ngayon, takot. Takot, worried, at parang hindi alam kung saan sila tatakbo, anong gagawin. No? So, ang daming challenges. Okay? And our embassy also is, we have a shelter, and I think they've opened up already repatriation. Those who want to be repatriated must sign up. I don't know the details yet, but the embassy, we also have a shelter. Not only the shelter for runaways, but the shelter now, I think, to be used as a temporary shelter for those looking for a place to spend the night, or for the meantime, because of this crisis.
Father, your
Pasensya na para low-bat na talaga ako, but kakalungkot lang yung mga nangyayari ngayon.
Father, your parish is Saint Joseph Parish.
Joseph, yes. It's a Jesuit parish. Yes, and this parish is just newly instituted by the bishop around 2 years ago, last December 2024, before I arrived. So it's called the Anglophone Latin Parish of Saint Joseph. So meaning the English parish for the Roman Catholics in Beirut. So if you're a migrant or all English-speaking like Roman Catholics are like under this parish. So all their weddings, their baptisms, confirmations, all the sacramental needs will have to be done or prepared in this parish. So bagong-bago pa lang talaga siya na parish. So I was installed as the first parish priest was the American Jesuit, Father Dan Kuru of the Society of Jesus. He's the regional director of JRS, and we were here together also when I was here, like in 2017, and so he took over when I left, and when I went back to the Philippines and then studied in the UK for counseling. And then when I returned, I took over the directorship of Arupe Migrant Center, which is under the parish also of the English parish of St. Joseph. So, I was just installed last December. So, ang bilis ng mga pangyayari, no? And then, since we are a new parish, we are still like we are building up forming our parish pastoral council and our ministries. Ang dami pang kailangan gawin, and then this happened. Sabi ko, Lord, ano ba to? ang hirap.
Father, you said you are sheltering around 130 to 150 people right now.
Yes.
And what is the composition of the people you are sheltering? Where are they from?
Mostly ang nasa shelter namin ngayon are from Sudan, Africans, no? Like Bangladesh. Okay.
Born capovers, what's that?
Okay, sandali lang. Okay lang ba? Sandali lang ha. Tumatawag
Sige,
yung leader namin sa shelter.
Sige, Father.
Hello, Ate Loren.
So, tumatanggap lang ng tawag si Father Henry Ponce dun sa Lebanon. So, babalikan natin siya in a bit.
Hello. So I'm
Ayan,
sorry,
Father.
Pat. I'm sorry, Pat, ha. Yeah, ano lang, sabi niya, okay lang daw tawagan ko siya ulit after.
Talagang ano, mabilis talaga yung ano sa inyo, no, yung takbo ng mga usapan because everyone is on emergency mode.
Yes, yes. So
Oo.
going back to my story, mostly Sudan and Bangladesh, and there are other nationalities, no, na nandyan sa migrant center namin. And yung capacity nga lang namin supposed to be 80 lang, but it's so painful to turn away these people. But we cannot do anything because kakalungkot. No, especially nung kahit yung Pinoy, sabi ko, okay, ganito na lang, ipalista kita dito. Just in case walang matakbuhan, just come. Okay? Come, kahit dyan lang tayo sa labas, basta nasa compound tayo ng simbahan, much safer space for you.
Father, can you recount one interaction you've had with someone who wanted to take shelter in your parish,
Mm.
but you could no longer accommodate the person?
Oh,
What did
oh.
the person tell you? How did you respond
Mm-mm.
specifically? What was
Talagang
striking?
mahirap, no? Actually, um, ganito yon. Um, the migrant or the shelter of the church is being run by the Jesuit Refugee Service. It
Mhm.
is a very organized Jesuit organization. Okay? So international yan sila, and that's their expertise now to receive. So they have a team who like who have specific assignments now from procurement to like organizing the food or attending to the needs. May psychological team pa sila, no? So they're very organized, and um, ka- kami, like I just help as a parish priest, like opening the door of the Rupe Migrant Center to accommodate and to be used as a shelter. And then
Mhm.
uh, from there, they take over, and then they plan and execute. And for sure, so they register those who are like coming, get their information, where they're coming from, and then first come, first serve. And for sure, then there's this Filipina who came, and then by that time when she came, puno na talaga. I said, okay, but the her situation is also different because she's working. Meaning she will be in the shelter, but she'll be going out and she'll be going home to that dangerous area. And she said, Father, hindi naman ako magsistay dito, hindi ako matutulog. Pero pag may emergency, kasi may warning kung may aatake. Um, that's the time na mag-evacuate sila. I said, so sige, puno na kami, pero pag nangyari yan at wala ka ng matakbuhan, just come and I'll like take you, parang ano. But I said, I told Myra of Tres Marias, I said, Myra, may ganito na kaso. Kung uh, kung wala silang matakbuhan, pwede silang pumunta din sa kanila, sa Tres Marias. And then, makikishelter. And then, walang problema kay may pagkain sila din doon. And they can be accommodated. No? So I just a while ago when this late warning came, I just called also Tres Marias, no, Myra, and asked how, because sadly the place that she has was trying to book and as a temporary shelter, last minute nag-back out dahil natakot. So ngayon naghahanap na naman ng ibang lugar and nakikiusap na lang sa kapitbahay na may Filipino. Just for the meantime, accommodate muna itong walang matakbuhan, and then we will provide for food, no, for provisions for them for the meantime. Nakakalungkot, no, na we're trying to help as much as we could. Ito, kababayan pa natin na hirap, na masakit sa akin na hindi ko siya ma-accommodate kasi wala ng space, no? But we're trying to find ways na, sige, hanapan sila ng lugar, hanapan ng ano, hanggang ngayon hanap pa rin kami ng hanap, and then I'm sure may mga nagbubukas na mga Pinoy na tutulong din.
Father Henry, why do you say that it is painful?
It is painful kasi kababayan natin, no? Like ako, Filipino na parish priest, so helpless na kasi nga puno na, wala kang magawa. Di ba? Parang and then ito nga, I wake up so early para pakainin sila. Hindi ko yan sila kalahi, no? But yan, kawawa din sila na nandoon at nauna silang nandoon. Kasi nga rumispondi talaga sila sa warning kaagad. Okay? So walang mabiblame, Pat, pero yun nga, malungkot na parang sana may magawa pa ako.
Father, sabi niyo yung mga ibang nationalities nag-respond kaagad sa warning. Ang mga Pinoy po ba, hindi po ba nag-respond kaagad?
Hindi. Yun nga. Kasi nga parang siguro nasanay na sila na ilang beses na ito nangyari, na na-survive man nila, ganito, ganyan. Okay? So, there are a lot of reasons. No, I don't know their reasons kung bakit, pero sadly, huli talaga sila na rumispondi, no? Na kasi nga yung sabi ko kanina, kasi uuwi sila sa bahay nila pag naging okay na, because they could not leave their house. And then, may trabaho din sila sa labas. So, they cannot be in the shelter. Actually, may shelter din tayo sa Philippine Embassy. Pero pag once mapasok ka sa shelter, hindi ka pwedeng lumabas. Okay. So, I don't know the details ngayon ng shelter ng embassy of how they are running it. So, it's hard to give information. Pero, yun ang alam ko, no? I don't know how correct, how accurate that information is. Pero yun nga, kung papasok ka, hindi ka makalabas-labas until maging okay na pwede na kayong bumalik. Ganon. So, I understand kung ganon ang sistema ng shelter nila, it's to protect also, no, them. At ang hirap di ba, kung magbantay ng kung yung mga inaalagaan mo labas-pasok.
Father, yung mga hindi po yung mga nasa labas ng Lebanon, lalo na yung mga nasa Pilipinas siguro at sa ibang bahagi ng mundo, paano po sila pwedeng makatulong sa inyo? Paano kami pwedeng makatulong sa inyo dyan?
I'm so grateful to Tanging Yaman Foundation that they initiated this fundraising, no, through Father Manoling Francisco and his team. na they posted on Facebook, no, na call for donation. So whatever amount that they would receive from Tanging Yaman, they would like send them here, no, for us to use in any way possible na matulungan yung ginagawa namin dito. Kasi like in our shelter alone, hindi lang grabe ang fundraising sa US, no, sa different Jesuit organizations para lang maka-operate and to run this shelter. Hindi siya madali. And there's a lot of help coming from outside. And we thank the Lord for the generosity of people. Nung nag-send lang ako personally sa mga kaibigan, no, I should mention their names but they don't want to be recognized. Basta alam na kung sino-sino itong mga minessage ko, nag-respondi kaagad sila, no? And then they talked to Father Manoling Francisco of Tanging Yaman Foundation, and they agreed to call for donation for this particular need at this time. I'm so grateful. Para naiiyak ako sa tuwa that I am not alone in this mission.
Mhm. Yeah. We are all with you, Father Henry. And for sure, listening to you now, many of our viewers are probably asking, how long have you been there in Lebanon? Did you choose to be there?
So in my first assignment, I was here for 3 years, 2017 to 2020. After the Beirut blast, no, that explosion in August 4, a month later, I ended my contract because I needed to go home, and it was the pandemic, so I have to finish my contract. It's supposed to be to study, but the pandemic happened, and then so I went back to the Philippines and stayed and helped in of PGH. Sa sobrang heroic din yung ginagawa niya doon sa PGH. So I helped him there for almost 11 months, almost a year. And I studied for 2 years in Scotland in the University of Edinburgh for counseling, a master's in counseling. Then after that, after I finished my studies last year, I returned here in Lebanon. So I arrived here April 1, 2025. And then, yeah, tuloy-tuloy na hanggang ngayon. So hopefully, magtatagal ako dito. So tuwang-tuwa ako because when I returned, parang payapa na, dami, nagsibalikan na ang mga tao sa mall, may mga restaurants na nag-open kasi parang kumalma na, wala nang gulo, wala nang giyera. Pero economically, in 2017, $1 was 1,500 lira or Lebanese pound. Ngayon, when I returned, $1 is equal to 89,500 Lebanese pound or lira. Imagine that, from 1,500 to 89,000, almost 90,000. Kapag palagay na 100, grabe yun. So, bagsak na bagsak talaga sila. But, yun, payapa. And then, this happened.
Father
Ay,
Henry,
na lang, malalim.
oo nga eh. Father Henry, did you get to choose to be assigned there when you were a new Jesuit when you were first assigned there, Father?
No, because we have a vow of obedience, but no, as a Jesuit, as a religious. And so when our superior sends you to a mission, we obey. Okay? But when it's a long story, but I was an OFW. I used to work in Japan when I was in before I became a Jesuit. So I was an OFW. That's my vocation story. I was like one of the OFW. I know the struggles of an OFW. So when God called me, I wanted to respond to the calling to minister to OFWs.
Uh-huh.
And then when that request for missionary, no, in Lebanon, my superior thought of me. He said, I have the right person for this job because since I entered the novitiate in 2004 until I got ordained, that desire to serve the OFWs has remained strong. Like even when I was studying theology, I was already helping out with UGAT kay Father Nilo Tanalega. I was doing stress debriefing sa OWA sa halfway house before, no? And I was, yeah, my desire to really help the OFWs is so strong. So when this opportunity came, like it was so easy for me to say yes. I have no idea what Lebanon was when I was told in 2017 that there's an opportunity for mission to the migrants, to the OFWs. I readily said yes. And so my superior did not look for anyone else and sent me here.
Mhm.
And when I was sent here, like they saw the impact and people responded to my presence, no, in the ministry. And so yeah, and then when I was finishing my study for a Filipino uh, pastor. So when I was told by my superior, Henry, you'll go back to Lebanon with open arms and legs. I said, yes. Yeah.
Kaya pala Father ano rin, um, masakit para sa inyo na mag-turn away ng mga OFW because you
Mhm.
yourself were an OFW before.
Yes, exactly. And I know parang how hard it is. So, kumbaga, ramdam ko sila. Yan.
Mhm. Father, just winding down, um,
Mm.
how does this ministry to OFWs give meaning to your life as a Jesuit priest?
I think it doesn't just give meaning, but it's life giving for me. Now, this is where God has called me to be, and I just respond, and I'm trying to be good or the best person or the best priest that I can be to serve um, the OFWs, and not only the OFWs, but the scope of my responsibility now as a parish priest is not only for Filipinos, but now all the regardless of nationality, I have to serve them,
Mhm.
and I think I'm, it's life giving for me, and um, it's a fulfillment to the call that God na made through to me. So yun, sumagot lang ako sa tawag at dito ako buhay na buhay sa
Mhm.
pagtugon kahit mahirap, kahit challenging.
Father, may mga tao sa iba-ibang panig ng mundo na Imbis na
Excuse
malungkot,
me, naghang ka kanina, hindi ko narinig yung sinabi
hello
mo,
Father,
May?
may mga
Yes.
tao po sa iba-ibang panig ng mundo na imbis na
Mm,
malungkot na merong giyera, nagche-cheer pa sila na
mm,
ito may mga um, may bagong giyera, maipapanalo ito ng Amerika at ng Israel laban sa mga kaaway, yung mga
mm,
tinatawag nilang masasamang mga tao.
mm,
Alam niyo na may mga ganiyang mga sentimento sa iba-ibang panig ng mundo at may mga Katoliko din na jina-justify yung ganitong klaseng giyera, ganitong
mm.
klaseng bakbakan. Bilang pare, how would you address them? What would you like to tell people who are cheering on the those who foment war?
Hirap, ang hirap ng tanong na yan, no? Pero for me, talagang every war, when lives are destroyed, I don't think God is pleased with that. No? Walang magandang maidudulot palagi. Ang biktima palagi yung mga powerless, yung mga tao, yung mga and ang hirap, especially in this time and age, parang when you try to listen to and uh, ends no ng polarized na ano, para they have different narratives and they have their own like seemingly valid reason for doing such thing, but when you try to look at it in God's perspective, I don't know how you would try to rationalize things. So hindi, I'm not like for it, no? So parang sana, tulad ng sinasabi ng Santo Papa, talagang there's to find another way to resolve such conflicts. Pero but this is very complicated, no? How I wish merong madaling paraan. Because this issue that they, when I try to like analyze, saan ba ito nag-umpisa? Very complicated. Ang daming sanga-sanga, no? And there's, ah, nakakalito. Kakalito.
Father, my last question,
Mm.
of course, people in Lebanon are victims of war,
Mm.
especially the people around you. But especially among the Christians there, I would like to believe that they are not just victims, but also witnesses. In from your point of view as a priest, how do they give witness? How do they give witness to the Christian faith? And what can we learn from your experience there?
Okay, tulad ng sinasabi ng bishop dito, no, si Bishop Cesar Isayan, um, the migrants are the new or are missionaries also, in the way that they witness to Christ in their like faithfulness in to their job, in the way they do their task lovingly and faithfully as a person, no? They're so diligent, they're so hardworking, and ito daming mga kwento na tinuturuan nga nila yung mga alaga nila magdasal, and they see also the values, especially for Filipinos na mga domestic helpers dito, na nakikita nila kung paano sila mamuhay, paano sila magdarasal, paano sila nananalangin, how they live out their lives. Those are like witnessing, to God's presence in the household that they are serving. Mm. And like everywhere also, marami din tayong mga kababayan na naaabuso. Okay? That's a sad reality. And there are, I would say that sadly, there are people that are just so evil. No? Kahit walang ginawang masama, no? Ang isang katulong nila. Ito na nga, tinutulungan na nga silang mas gumaan yung trabaho nila or buhay nila. Pero yun nga, they will verbally abuse, physically abuse, sexually abuse. And I just don't understand why they're doing that. It's, for me, it's just evil.
Father, as a closing message, maybe I'd like to ask you, what is your deepest prayer right now?
Oh, I'm like right now at the top of my head and my heart, it's praying that for peace, no, that this will be resolved, and that this crisis wouldn't escalate further. No. Yun yung talagang very immediate sa utak ko ngayon at dinadasal ko ngayon na sana hindi mangyari yung inaasahan namin mangyari. Because people would suffer. So, Lord, have mercy. Yun yung dasal ko. God would protect us and God would that we just surrender everything to Him.
Thank you very much, Father Henry, and we are praying for you. And again, for those who would like to help Father Henry and his parish, you can go to the Facebook page of Tangyaman Foundation, and the details can be found there. Thank you very much, Father Henry, for your time. It is now around 9 p.m. your time. It is now around 3 a.m. 9 p.m. your time, 3 a.m. Our time in Manila, and I hope you can rest well. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with us, Father.
Maraming salamat din, Pat, no, at sa pagtsatsaga, no, matulog ka na rin, pahinga. Ang hirap din ng trabaho ninyo, no. And I hope, salamat for taking time to listen to my story. Okay? So God bless you, and God bless you all who are watching.
God bless, Father. And thank you for watching. Ako po, si Paterno West Makel, ang inyong religion reporter.